This week on the Racer X Show, to Budds Creek in round 7 of the Pro Motocross Championship. Can Ryan Dungey stop the hot-as-a-firecracker Ken Roczen? We'll head to the dirt of Mechanicsville for that. ATV Motocross was in action, and one man continues to outshine his competition. We'll show you how that all unfolded. The final race of the Superbike Shootout, tied in points. One man's race went to plan. The other, well, not so much. All that in GNCC News coming at you right now. Hello everyone and welcome to the Racer X Show presented by Chaparral Motorsports. I'm your host, Greg White. We certainly hope you had a fun and relaxing weekend. We didn't. Too much great race action to keep us on the edge of our seats. And now we're here to show you some of it. And we have some exclusive GNCC news as well. So let's get this show rolling.
The Racer X Show with Greg White is being presented by Chaparral Motorsports. Visit Chaparral Motorsports online at chatmoto.com.
Like you've heard all season long right here on the Racer X Show, this Lucas Oil's Pro Motocross Championship is between Red Bull KTM teammates Ryan Dungey and Ken Roczen. And it's safe to say that Roczen, who is a 450 rookie, has been the man on fire. But some speculate that Roczen can fade a bit from about this point forward of the season. Roczen says not anymore. He's training harder than ever. Well, we are at the halfway hump. So let's give you the TV race commentators Jason Wygant and Grant Langston with this week's highlights.
We're about an hour south of Washington, D.C. in Budds Creek, Maryland for this, the Geico Motorcycle Budds Creek Nationals Round 7 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. Yamahas were dominating off the start, but then Trey Canard looking to make moves on Justin Brayton for the lead. Makes it happen, puts the Honda up front, but watch for Ken Roczen. He gets around Ryan Dungey, gets around Brayton, and now going for the lead on Canard.
Roczen just charges that hill so much harder than anyone. That's why I'm saying hard braking area. He makes the most of it.
Takes the moto win. Now it was close. His teammate Dungey got it to within 1 second there on the final lap. Last few laps, Dungey was closing in. They were in lap traffic. Roczen did what he needed to do to win that one. We'll show you the results. As mentioned, a good battle also for third between Canard, Tomac, and Stewart. Weston Pike needed a bounce back after a really rough weekend at Red, but he told me all I need is a start. He got one. He delivered a great finish in 6th. Metcalf wins that battle with Short. Grant, 9th. Freddie Doran making it happen again at the factory Honda, top 10. He started with a good start. Ryan Dungey at the number 5, making it happen.
Start out front and finish that way. Dungey gets that whole shot, steals it away from Josh Graham.
And he would not be headed from there. Great battles behind him. Ken Roczen here at the 94 going around the outside of Grant to get into 2nd. We thought we were going to have a furious battle between the Red Bull KTM teammates, but no. Dungey was able to put distance on Roczen and the rest of the field. Little doubt this was his best performance of the year. A little bit of light in the championship fight for him. He looked pretty gloomy last week. Good job by Roczen, though. He was dealing with pressure from Eli Tomac down the stretch. Finished his 2nd. There is Dungey. His mechanic, Carlos Rivera, celebrating the win. Tomac, who we mentioned, ends up 3rd. Canard and Pike in the top 5. Good ride for Weston. Grant 6th. Short, Nicoletti, Brayton, and Gerke round out the top 10. If you look at the overall here, no problem for Roczen because you actually tied Dungey on points for the day. He got that first moto that counts just as much as far as the championship is concerned. You don't lose any ground on your off day. Probably not too upset about that.
And that's the podium. Eli Tomac back up there. Trey Canard just couldn't make it. Weston Pike running out the top 5. Great result for him. Look at the points. Pretty tight now.
Yeah, 26 points. It's certainly doable, but the problem is, though, Roczen and Dungey have been so darn consistent that even when it's a bad race, they end up getting 2nd, 3rd, 4th, something like that. Roczen hasn't been out of the top 3 in any moto this year.
I got back and everything kind of came down a little bit, and I was like, man, I'm feeling good. This is my moment, you know? But I just got that start. It was way key, and was just able to race my laps. The track's really coming around. It was very tough, but all these guys did a good job. I can't thank my whole team enough. My fiance Lynn's, my dad, my mom, my brothers, everybody. It's good to get this win. It's been since round 1, so it's a good step.
Little history made, a first-time winner. Yeah. Starts with Jason Anderson's got to get around Justin Bogle. Anderson and Bogle, neither have ever won one of these races, so you can tell they wanted it bad.
That is the hardest way to make a pass, going the long way around. He went at least 50 feet further than Bogle to get that lead, but you know what? It was totally worth it.
Yeah, and then he started pulling away. You have to watch Jeremy Martin here on the left side in the Yamaha trying to pass Christophe Pourcel. He finally makes the move. That puts him into third. With Bogle in the number 2 spot. Not for long. Martin wants it.
Martin doing what he does best. Get out front, trying to win this title. He fights hard, but look here, battle for third. Baggett, oh, and Bogle almost touching midair. Baggett gets around Bogle.
And as Martin and Baggett were up to second and third, they closed the gap on Anderson. Here's the top 3 coming down to the finish line. They were all in the same section, but it's enough for Anderson to take his first moto win of the year. It's only 4 different moto wins this year. Webb, Martin and Bogle had gotten them all. Webb, by the way, did make that pass on Pourcel. 1 more championship point for him at that 5th place, digging it out.
And I said that was crucial for Cooper Webb.
He got it done. And Arod, the 3rd Star Racing Yamaha rider, inside the top 10 as well with an eye.
Gate drops. Baggett wins this moto, but it's not him out front early. It's the Yamaha bike of Jeremy Martin, but a big first turn pileup, taking down Muscan and several other top riders. But Martin getting that all-important motorsport.com hole shot.
And Baggett actually took advantage of that crash, got around those guys. They punched a hole for him, and now from about 5th place moves into 4th. Then he has to go after Jason Anderson for the number 3 position. Anderson had won the first moto earlier today, but he was not quite as strong this time around. Baggett's next move, he's got to work on Christophe Pourcel, but Pourcel made it easy for second.
Pourcel unable to jump that triple step up, leaves the door open for Baggett, who gets in the second. And this is that section we said you can make passes up the inside. Baggett takes that lead over Jeremy Martin. Huge in the point situation.
Absolutely, and from there he would absolutely pull away from everyone. Just questions no one could answer in the second half of the moto for Baggett. 3rd of the first moto, wins Moto 2, and that is enough to give him the overall win. Martin, a solid day, finishes 2nd. Pourcel 3rd, Cooper Webb not what he wanted, back in 4th, going to lose a little ground to Baggett and Martin in the standings. Bogle Hill Anderson 7th, Nelson Seeley and Arod Anthony Rodriguez rounds out the top 10. That kid's getting pretty consistent quite quickly. The overall results when we combine the scores from the first moto earlier today and this one, Blake Baggett with a 3rd of the first. That's the most points in total, edging out Jeremy Martin. That's the difference in motocross. You get a little bonus point for winning a moto, so even though you see 3 and 1 and 2 and 2 both equal 4, you win the moto, you get the overall. Anderson up on the podium again. He's done that a couple times this year. As I suspected, Baggett has now vaulted past Webb for 2nd. Webb and OTJ, but certainly not as good as the last 2 weeks for him, where he was winning motos. So now Baggett up to 2nd. I'd say both still in championship contention, though.
And to watch all the great practice and race action this weekend from Spring Creek, you can do it on the web. ProMotocross.com/live, 11:30 a.m. East. Practice, 1:15 is the pre-show, then Moto 1 at 2 p.m. East. 4 p.m. is Moto 2, or on TV, you can check it out at MAB TV at 2 p.m. for live Moto 1, on NBC SN, 4 p.m. for Moto 2. Now, last week, we told you about the uncertainty hanging over Team USA's fate, and more specifically, their rider lineup for this year's FIM Motocross Nations, which will be held in Latvia in late September. We were hoping that the team might have been announced as early as July 4th at Redbud, but that didn't happen, as team manager Roger DeCoster is still sorting through the availability and desire of the top Americans on the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship circuit to make the commitment to go. But we did get a chance to speak briefly with Roger DeCoster after the Redbud races. In a nutshell, Roger DeCoster said, there are 5 American riders who really stand out right now, 2 on 250s and 3 on 450s. The 250 spot on the team will be current points leader Jeremy Martin on the Yamalube Star Racing team, or Budds Creek race winner Blake Baggett on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. The older Baggett has already raced for Team USA twice, so he knows the drill. For Martin, on the other hand, not only would it be his debut in this prestigious race, he would be the first Yamaha rider on Team USA since Tim Ferry in 2003. Now Roger needs 2 450 guys, and right now it's looking like Honda rider Trey Kennard and Eli Tomac. They're the most likely to go. But here's a big surprise. DeCoster told us that his Red Bull KTM team captain Ryan Dungey hinted on Saturday that he's reconsidering his decision to sit out the Motocross of Nations this year and may yet volunteer to go. Dungey, who has gone each of the last 4 years, is getting married in the fall and seems set to be sitting out the race. If Ryan decides to go to Latvia in September, well, let's just say that Team USA's chances to win just got a little bit better. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Trey Canard, congratulations. He got on the cover of RacerX magazine. Job well done for him. You want to subscribe to this magazine? Go to racerxonline.com. It has all the information you need. To off-road news and the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis. If you visited GNCCRacing.com and looked at the schedule, you would have seen a TBA, or to be announced race.
Whoa.
Hey Jen, what's up?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
What you got?
We've filled the TBA spot on the GNCC schedule for 2014. We're actually going to be going to the Mountain Ridge ATV Park in Somerset, Pennsylvania. So mark it on the calendar.
Cool. All right, so on the schedule, though, I noticed that it said PA for a while, but to be announced. So people knew it was kind of coming to a certain part of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, we've had several rounds in Eastern PA in the past. Last year we had our first time. It was called the Gusher. We had quite a rain out. Things didn't quite work out like we wanted, so we knew we wanted to be in the area. They've got some really great fans, great terrain. So we definitely had our hearts set on the Eastern PA, Western PA type land, and we've been to Somerset before. We went there last in 2011, so we thought, hey, we love the place. It's awesome. The riders love it, so let's go back.
Awesome. So GNCC Racing Somerset in September. What are the dates?
September 20th and 21st.
Thanks, Jen. So here's a look at the remaining events on the schedule. Round 10, the Can-Am Unadilla at Unadilla, September 6th and 7th. New announcement, round 11 at Mountain Ridge ATV Park in Somerset, PA. That's September 20th and 21st. Round 12 is at St. Clairsville, Ohio. And finally, we wrap up the season in Crawfordsville, Indiana for round 13. The Mountain Dew ATV National Motocross Championship made its annual trip to Central New York on Saturday for the NYCM Insurance Northeast ATV National at the legendary Unadilla. The 7th stop in the 9-round championship was all about domination by defending back-to-back AMA Pro ATV champ Chad Wienen, who keeps marching towards his 3rd straight title by sweeping the day's motos aboard his Wienen Motorsports Walsh Yamaha. And here's how he did it. Great weather greeted the field for Moto 1 of the Pro Class as Motorsports.com Honda's John Natale grabbed the SSI Decals Hole Shot Award and looked to take advantage of putting himself up front early. JB Racing Cheerwine Can-Am's Jeffrey Rastrelli emerged second with BCS Can-Am's Josh Creamer in 3rd. As for the defending champ, Wienen, he began his day in 4th, but he's a mover and a shaker, passing Creamer for 3rd on lap 2. Lap 4, Natale broke a shock and ultimately retired from competition. Rastrelli assumed the lead, putting Wienen in 2nd and in a position to challenge for the top spot. Just 1 lap later, the points leader moved past Rastrelli and steadily pulled away. Rastrelli held on with a career-best 2nd place finish, with Wienen Motorsports' Thomas Brown overcoming a 7th place start to finish 3rd. Pennsylvania's Joel Hetrick in 4th, with Ohio's Josh Upperman rounding out the top 5. Josh Creamer was 6th. He'd have a better Moto 2. Part of that better was Creamer snagging the hole shot, but Wienen close on his rear fender in 2nd. Thomas Brown emerged in 3rd, while Rastrelli continued his stellar day in 4th. Creamer held on to the top spot, handling the pressure from Wienen for about half the moto before the Yamaha rider finally made a pass that stuck on lap 4. Once out front, Wienen consistently edged away from his rivals, and that was that. Brown eventually made his way past Creamer to take 2nd, with Creamer holding on to 3rd. Upperman fought his way into 4th, with Rastrelli hanging on to 5th. But for Wienen, his 3rd straight win at Unadilla and his 5th overall victory of the season. Let's hear from him.
Creamer and I battling for the start, and he ended up getting it about a little bit past the halfway point. I started reeling him in good, and I just made a move on him. And it's the same place I made most of my passes all day today, and just had this line dialed and just shut him off, and was able to cruise onto the win the 2nd moto. And awesome day, 1-1, and did this one for my good friend Ryan Cox. It's his birthday today. I told him I'll get a 1-1 for him, and happy birthday, bud.
Wienen's 1-1 effort was his 2nd of the season and earned him 8 points over everyone. His 2nd sweep of the year, Brown completed the 1-2 sweep for the team. in second place, while Rastrelli ended a career day in third, his first pro podium. Wienen's control of the ATV MX standings now sits at 64 over Hetrick, with Brown jumping into third, 74 points back. If Wienen ends the penultimate stop of the season at Redbud in 2 weeks, with at least 50 points in the bag, he'll be crowned champion. In the Pro-Am class, series points leader Ronnie Higgerson, who crashed and injured his ankle, struggled to 17th and 15th in Moto 1 and 2, leaving the door open for Jeffrey Rastrelli on his JB Racing Can-Am to sweep the weekend with a 1-1 finish. Rastrelli now pulls within 31 of Higgerson, with Hamrick only 2 adrift of that. And with only 2 rounds remaining in this year's series, it's going to be fun to see how this all plays out. Now to road racing, and quickly, something is happening on the MotoGP side of things that is totally, well, amazing. Current world champ Marc Marquez has yet to lose a race. Going into Germany, he's 8 for 8, and this would be no different. Marquez and his Repsol Honda would beat teammate Danny Pedrosa by 1.4 seconds, and he started from pit lane to do it. Jorge Lorenzo third, Valentino Rossi in fourth. So look, 25 points to win, 9 races, 225 points. You can't do any better than Marquez is doing right now. American Nicky Hayden finished 13th. The next time we see MotoGP in action, it'll be right here in the United States at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, August 10th. The Geico Motorcycle Superbike Shootout presented by Yamaha and the Pro Sport Bike class. This is the final race of the abbreviated championship, and heading into it, the championship was tied between latest motorsports triumphs Bobby Fong and young star Yamaha Extended Services Monster Energy Graves Yamaha's Garrett Gerloff. And of course, there is a title, trophy, #1 plate, and pride on the line. To the highlights we go. And when we get going, it was Gerloff's teammate JD Beach on the #6 who came from row #2 to get the early lead. That would last about 3 corners when a fired up Gerloff would do the inside out braking thing on Beach to be the front runner. And that would be it for the lead. Now the focus turns to Fong, who have been struggling in practice and qualifying. Shown here when H35 Yamaha's Benny Solis tried to get around Fong, but we'll just call that a racing incident. Solis would be okay after the crash, pretty upset, but okay. But for Fong, his race kept getting more and more funky. The Replay XD onboard of Geico Honda's Jake Zemke shows Fong sticking a leg out and falling back. So basically, if Gerloff could bring it home in one piece, he'd be crowned the first Superbike Shootout Pro Sport Bike champ. And with the attempted stand-up wheelie, he safely crosses the finish line first. JD Beach, off of that great start, holds on to second. Fong was able to stand on the podium, but with the disappointment of losing the title, it's not much consolation. Podium finisher from Sonoma, Bryce Prince, 7th. But I want to hear what Gerloff has to say.
My bike, my Yamaha Extended Service Monster Energy Graves Yamaha R6 was just on rails, as you can probably see. I, get my elbow down a little bit, and I was just having a blast. From the first lap of the race, I just wanted to get the lead quick and try to build that gap up, and luckily it worked out that way. And I keep forgetting about the championship, but I guess that was it, right? That's championship. Awesome, yeah. Yeah, not a lot of words. So I can't thank my whole crew enough. Shoei helmets, Revit leathers, CD boots. You see them all the time on me. Yeah, thank you so much.
Tied coming into the weekend, but Gerloff leaves 9 points the victor. Beach climbed into 3rd with his podium spot on the day. A quick look at the World Superbike from California over the weekend. And in race #1, it was Marco Melandri in his factory Aprilia who took home the win. He beat his teammate by less than a second. First American, Jeff May, on the EBR was 18th. In race 2, it was Kawasaki's Tom Sykes who took this one over Sylvain Guintoli. How about this? The first American-made motorcycle to ever score points in a World Superbike race? Foremost Insurance EBR-mounted Larry Pegram, 14th with 2 points. Well done, Larry. UK's Tom Sykes walks away from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca with 1 extra point over Frenchman Guintoli. Next stop, round 10, Jerez, Spain, all the way in early September. Hey, we want you to get out and watch some racing. So if you're near the Twin Cities, get out and see the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross race on Saturday. How about you folks in Ohio? AMA Pro Superbike action from Mid-Ohio, Friday through Sunday. Washington State, the AMA Pro Flat Track Series heads to Elma. That's on Saturday. And for a local event, watch or ride. It's the Action Sports Moto Park Grand Prix, Saturday the 20th at Action Sports Moto Park in Athens, Ohio. Not sure what Grand Prix off-road racing is? How about this? It's a combination of motocross track and off-road racing. Each race is 55 minutes long, half a hare scramble or twice a motocross race. You can show up about a half hour before the race, get your trophy, and you're out of there. And it's fun for the entire family. We have some clips from the June 1st Grand Prix. Check it out. I think I'm going to give that a go. Okay, if you want to get in touch with us, shoot me an email. It's greg@racertv.com. If you want us to put your local races on the upcoming calendar, it's greg@racertv.com. And hey, if you're a motorcycle racer or fan, you want to stop by the Racer X show on a Tuesday, let us know. You can check us out. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, 80 miles south of Pittsburgh, just off the I-79. Well, that's it for now. We hope you enjoyed it. We sure did. Check us out on all of our social media links. Like us, follow us, do all that stuff. And you can follow me personally on Twitter. It's @GregWhite. For the fine crew here at the Racer X Show presented by Chaparral Motorsports and RacerTV, I'm Greg White. Remember, we are racing all the time. See you next time. Bye-bye.